I think like most people, whenever December rolls around, I get a craving to re-experience some of my favorite holiday-themed media, be it a Christmas episode of a TV series, a Christmas-themed movie, or in this case, a game. Some of my favorite gaming memories as a kid were playing a new game I had just gotten on Christmas morning. There's something so exciting and almost mystical about those experiences, especially if it was cold and snowing outside while I was playing, which where I lived it often did, so it was just the coziest feeling. And I didn't have to feel guilty about not going outside and staying in to play video games when there was a huge snowstorm going on. It was even better when you played a game that was also set during Christmas, bringing that cozy, cheerful vibe to the game as well. And all these years later, there's one game I always get the urge to play when the holidays arrive, and that's Batman Arkham Origins. It's my favorite Christmas game, though to be fair, I don't know of many games that actually take place on Christmas. It's not quite as plentiful a market for video games as it is for movies. There are others though, like Spider-Man Miles Morales, The Division, and there are a bunch of games that have snow that kind of invoke the Christmas vibe without actually taking place during the holidays. But I still believe there's no better game to play during the holiday season than Arkham Origins. Not only is it a great game, I mean, all the Arkham games are amazing, but Origins being set on Christmas Eve night / Christmas morning in a snowy white Gotham gives it a certain vibe that the other Arkham games can't quite match or offer. There's something about this serene white snow covering and juxtaposing with the grimy, crime-infested city of Gotham on Christmas Eve. Batman and Christmas make such a fun combination because they're such polar opposites. People associate Christmas and the holidays with joy, peace, and an overall elated feeling, while Batman is dark, gritty, and violent, traversing city rooftops like a Dark Knight Santa Claus, who instead of delivering gifts, dishes out beatdowns to thugs and criminals. This dark silhouette contrasting against the bright white snow. They not only juxtapose from a tone and atmospheric standpoint really well, but just from an artistic one. Seeing Batman walking through the snow is so visually striking. If this was a game coming out today, I'd have loved to see the snow stick to his suit. That would look incredible, especially with how good the snow looked in Arkham Knight. Batman and Christmas just go really well together though, and Arkham Origins in particular does such a good job of building the winter atmosphere. From obviously the constant barrage of snow throughout the game that never stops, the Christmas lights that contrast and shine through the snowy night sky, the wide variety of decorations. WB Montreal put a lot of detail into giving so many of these building exteriors some form of decorations, be it wreaths, elf and Santa statues, Christmas trees, little gingerbread houses. A lot of time went into ensuring the player would feel that Christmas vibe throughout. Even the soundtrack has a lot of Christmas-themed tracks with their own Batman-esque spin, my favorite definitely being the Joker's theme.
Here, have a laugh on me! Do you hear that? Sounds like 8 tiny reindeer!
Having Christmas music, which is often considered to be warm and cheerful, over a psychotic Joker scene, is just the perfect choice for a Batman game set on Christmas Eve. They contrast each other so well. All of these things are rather obvious as to why Arkham Origins has such a strong Christmas atmosphere throughout the game, but those reasons alone aren't why it's my favorite Christmas game. There's a lot of media out there across different mediums that choose to set their stories during Christmas. After all, it's a huge market, and it's a cheap way for a lot of content to get more traffic, especially if they release around the holidays. There are a lot of movies that take place during or around Christmas purely to take advantage of that. The stories they tell don't need to take place during the holidays. It could take place on any other day of the year, but they'll use the setting as a crutch to win some easy points with people who are looking to see something that will get them in the holiday spirit during that time of year. I'm not saying there's something completely wrong with that. Sometimes the setting and Christmas vibe only enhances the story, but what I love about Arkham Origins in particular, and the main reason it's my favorite Christmas game, is because the holiday actually carries a lot of narrative significance. It's very important to the story and characterization of Bruce Wayne in this game. where it feels like the choice to set the game on Christmas Eve wasn't just made to prop up a story that has no business being a Christmas story. I really enjoy Spider-Man Miles Morales, and New York looks beautiful covered in that white snow, but the story doesn't really need to take place during this time of year. That story could just as easily be told in the spring or summer. But with Arkham Origins, the fact that it is Christmas highlights one of the main conflicts with Bruce throughout the game, and that's his refusal to actually be Bruce and just take time to be human, and not a constant crime-fighting machine. This is a much younger Batman than we see in the other Arkham games, and it's clear Bruce hasn't really figured out how to balance being Bruce Wayne with Batman yet. At the start of the game, you see a scene where he angrily brushes off a question from Vicky Vale, where the more experienced Bruce would have turned on the charm. But very similar to the latest Batman movie, he's still early on in his years as the Dark Knight and has a lot of rage, and thinks actually being Bruce Wayne isn't important. He doesn't care about that. And this is all amplified by the fact that it is Christmas. All night throughout the game, poor Alfred is trying to get Bruce to take a minute to just stop being Batman and celebrate Christmas with that Christmas dinner he made for him. But Bruce continues to refuse. He's so angry and determined that it really doesn't matter to him what day it is. To him, it's like any other night. Not to mention the pain and difficult feelings he has to deal with on the holiday after losing his parents. While it's never directly stated in the game or a point it seriously drives home, just knowing Bruce Wayne as a character, you know there's some subtext there about how throwing himself into Batman allows him to escape from even having to think about or deal with that grief. That's why it was such a smart decision to set the game during Christmas, because it's a day that's so widely associated as one where a lot of people get time off to spend time with family. So it really highlights how much Bruce is throwing himself into being Batman and how it's consumed nearly all of his waking hours. Alfred is the only person trying to look out for his well-being by trying to get him to just stop and take a break for a moment throughout the game and constantly reminding him of what day it is.
You do realize it is Christmas Eve, sir. Those assassins will all fail their mandate if you'd just spend the evening here.
It's midnight, sir. I just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas.
You too. It might be a bit anticlimactic, but I hoped you might finally be ready to celebrate Christmas Eve. Now that the Joker's behind bars.
Bane is still out there.
You know, I made a promise of my own to your parents.
No sign of any casualties.
Not now, Alfred.
Which all culminates in that incredibly well-acted and written blow-up between the two near the end of the game.
So no, Alfred. I am not in over my head. Tonight will be in my head, but it will be theirs.
Arkham Origins not only nails the aesthetic, atmosphere, and vibe of Christmas, but it's also a core part of the narrative. This story isn't nearly as impactful as it is if it takes place on any other day of the year. No other holiday would demonstrate this point as well in this story than Christmas, as even for those who may not celebrate it, its cultural significance is still widely understood. And so we as an audience are able to understand just how much being Batman has engulfed Bruce's life and how his anger is constantly boiling over, which is shown by not only how aggressive and brutal he is in this game, but also something Roger Craig Smith does an amazing job of bringing out in his performance. Arkham Origins isn't my favorite Arkham game, but it's not like there's any weak links in this series, and to me the Christmas setting is part of what makes it special and stand out from the rest. You can't get this kind of vibe and setting from Asylum, City, or Night, and every December, Origins is the one I get the desire to return to and play again. There aren't a ton of Christmas games out there, but for that, Arkham Origins is my favorite. Thank you for watching everybody, and happy holidays.